What's up, gamers? Today we're looking at a basic Nodachi guide. I'm going to tell you what attributes and runes I like to allocate and I find most effective, gear, and then skills I enjoy using. So real quickly, we'll just go over the attributes without the stats without our armor on. Noticeable things: your primary damage sources are going to be from your slashing and slashing pen. Slashing pen's terrible. It's 1400. This is nothing. So let's compare Maul real quick. Oh, I don't have my Maul on me. Here, let's compare the Maul real quick. This is the main competitor to Nodachi. Because they kind of fill a similar-esque role. Let's compare the Maul. So, the Maul has 500 more pen. This is enough pen to deal with all the infantry, all the cav in the game. 1900 pen is ridiculous. You don't need any more pen. And on top of that, most units have very low blunt defense, where on contrast, 1400 pen is terrible because most units have 700 to 800 pen in your higher levels. So we have to offset that with gear and attributes. We need to get our pen at least up to 1800, preferably 1900 to deal with the heroes as well. So we're going to look at gear and see how we can sort that out. We have two fame sets, the scholars and the preceptors, and then we have two carnifex. The carnifex and the rogues. So generally speaking, your preceptors is just better than your carnifex, but you can't roll leadership on preceptors. You know, you can't get above 8 leadership on these pieces anymore, or not anymore, but you just can't get above 8 leadership. Same thing with scholars. So generally speaking, no matter what set of gear you run with, your chest and your helmet should be medium armor no matter what. So I'm just going to put on my carnifex chest and helmet. And now I have an extra 150 slashing. And that's good. That's a good 2 set. And then the other 2 set is up to you if you want to put more points in your agility to get your pen up. You can run preceptors as well, and you'll get another 200 slashing. And this is it's a pretty solid boost. You'll be a little bit squishier because you're going to lose toughness and armor. So dueling pikes and dual blades is going to be a little bit harder, but it's fine. And then so what I generally like running is I'll run 2 set carnifex, 2 set rogues or scholars. I have better rogues gear, so my leadership is a little bit higher, and generally speaking, this loadout is going to give you almost enough slashing pen to get you up to that 1800 mark, which is a good spot to be at for dealing with purple and golden tier infantry and cav. So then we just drop some points in here until you see it hit that 1800 mark, which is about right there, and then you drop the rest into strength. You don't really need any toughness or armor because you're going to be vamping and life stealing with your passive. The more damage you deal, the more life you will steal, and that will keep you. That's what's going to keep you alive. And then for runes, for this one, it's pretty simple. Reforged Blade and Soul is terrible. Sorry. The Siphoning Blade Soul is terrible. Doesn't really work all that well. Don't take this one. If you want, you can test it in a unit training camp and see what I'm talking about. But don't take this one. So then it's between these two. Every time you get a kill or an assist or 3 kills, you get a stack of Bloodlust, and then whenever you're low, you get damage reduction. This one is so much better. Damage reduction on Nodachi is great. Increases your effective life pool and lets you sustain bursts better. You don't have a problem generating stacks on Nodachi, and I'll go over that in a second after we talk about our runes. For chest armor, you don't do that. Don't do what I was doing there. Take the damage reduction rune. Damage reduction when you die matters a lot in territory wars, and damage reduction while you're alive is important because you want to stay alive. You could take the bleed, but anti-bleed, but I think damage reduction is more important, especially for dueling and whatnot. For gloves or helmet, what is going on here? Why didn't I have these runes set up? I prefer health, and then you can do strength or agility. Not too important here, but I prefer health because when you die in territory wars, Healing those who are still alive when they're defending a point is going to be the difference between winning and losing a fight or fief sometimes. So that's why I take that. And then movement speed helps you stick to your targets, and agility for a little bit more armor pen is always fine. You don't really have too many options down here. I guess you could run that, but yeah, these points aren't too important, like the single point ones, but I personally think movement speed's the way to go here. You could go 40 armor pen, but that just doesn't seem worth it for 2 points, where you can't really get movement speed in other places. And then for gloves, damage dealt and agility is fine. I don't think bloodthirst is good. It's too situational. Bear, you don't need more damage killing troops and that kind of thing. Like this one can be usable, but I feel like I prefer the more consistent like stat boosts and whatnot. Dang, I really all this. Okay, yeah. Anyways, yeah, damage, strength's fine. Now that we got our ruins sorted out, we have our stats allocated. Remember, just put it up to points in agility until you hit 1800, roughly. That's where I like to go. Rest into strength, boost your slashing up. All right, let's talk about skills. One thing to note about all the Nodachi base skills is none of them have good scaling. 100% scaling, 86% scaling, 86% scaling, and these two don't scale at all. They don't offer scaling. Those are low scaling values, so your base value for your skills, or your base stats, don't really matter that much when you're trying to buff the damage of your skills. Unless you're going to talk about alts, which is, 300%, which is okay. It's not too crazy. It's not like old musket bum or the glaive or, the maul abilities, but, it's okay. I personally do not run in alts because I think these are terrible alts. They take too long to do what you want them to do. Oh, he's just got the big bark energy. Dragon's Leap is okay. It does an okay amount of damage, but just like it takes too long to charge up, and it will consume your bloodbath, which you do not want. You don't want your bloodbath to be consumed usually, unless you're gonna use it to heal and get a ton of lifesteal. And then Avalanche is just bad. It just doesn't feel like it deals that much damage, and the life recovery from it doesn't seem worth trading. Being able to move, like you don't really move too much while you're using this skill. So then I take Bloodthirsty, and I take Fearless and Steadfast for my two main abilities. Bloodthirsty is a recovery skill and a knockdown, which that's a really strong combo. And then Fearless and Steadfast is a recovery skill, and it also gets you up from knockdowns as well. So both of these skills get you up from knockdowns, and Fearless and Steadfast gets you up from concuss. And then you can use Blood Oath to reset both of these cooldowns, which is really strong. And on top of that, it'll give you 2 stacks for your bloodbath stacking. If you use this to stack your bloodbath completely, though, it will consume it for some reason. It's a bug right now. If you use this while you have 3 stacks, 4 stacks, or 5 stacks, it will consume it. So that's a bug. I don't know how they messed that up, but that exists. Why don't I run X skill? Let's say Tiger Claw. No recovery. Nodachi suffers from getting CC'd and killed like most classes, and this doesn't offer anything to stop that. You don't need help killing units because you're Nodachi. All your skills are great at killing units except for Bloodthirsty. I mean, that one's the only exception really. But this also doesn't stop Cav really. Bloodthirst is amazing at stopping Cav, and Fearless and Steadfast doesn't do that, but it does, it counts as a recovery skill. And then why don't I use Samurai's March? This skill just doesn't. It's like Bloodthirst, but it's worse than Bloodthirst in every way. It takes too long to get off. It doesn't really do that much damage. It's not a recovery. Yeah, doesn't have a lot going for it. They did increase the block break in the second stage of the attack, the second slam down, but yeah, I don't know, not about that. But yeah, it's my attributes and abilities guide. If you're interested in Nodachi gameplay and that kind of jazz, I stream Tuesday through Friday, 12 p.m. Central till roughly 4 p.m., usually longer though. And I'm also available on Discord 12 days a week. I'll link that in the description. thanks so much for watching. If you guys have any comments or questions, drop them below, and I will get to them as soon as I can. But yeah, let's put on the end card. Let's do that. Transition. Thank you so much.